following tonight's game.
One of the keys, of course, for Rummel is to keep the ball away from a young man by the name of Chase Dardar.
Chase Dardar, he's the leading tackler and the leading interceptor for the Shaw Eagles. He's got 10 picks on the season, and the Shaw Eagles won a state title back in 1987. They're trying to duplicate that. They got the stingiest defense in the Catholic League and arguably the best, most talented defensive backfield in the state of Louisiana.
Let's talk about Rummel, also an explosive offense, and the man leading the way is Darius Wilson.
They have a bend but not break defense and a high-octane offense that's powered by 2,000-yard rushers, and one of those is number 1, Darius Wilson. He's a senior. He's a 3-year starter. He's the only 2-time captain in the school's history. He's got over 1,000 yards rushing with 13 touchdowns on the ground and 9 touchdowns via the air. He's a total package. You'll hear a lot of Darius Wilson, number 1 tonight.
Plenty of interesting matchups in this game. Let's head for some other pregame insight. Let's go to the third member of our broadcast crew, Alexander Laurent.
Gentlemen, the answer to this game is very, very simple. It is all a matter of mistakes, mistake-free ball. Now, there is no question as what's going to happen here. They both run the ball. That is no secret. They're going to tell you that right from the top of the game. They're going to both run the game. So basically, that's what you're going to see. A lot of running, very little passing. But the key to this is going to be as to whether or not they can keep the offense and defense honest. And basically, what you're going to see is a couple curveballs thrown in just to make sure that that happens. Gentlemen, back to you.
It's Shaw and Rummel. We're all set for a state quarterfinal matchup from Joe Yenny Stadium here in Metairie. We'll have the starting lineups and the kickoff for tonight's game coming up. This is the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Bone Ford, Prime Equipment Company, the Ilarial Center, AAA Trophies, Hobnobber Express Deli Cafe, and WHNO TV 20.
Welcome back to Joe Yenny Stadium as we get set for the kickoff of this state quarterfinal matchup. The Catholic League rivals, Shaw and Rummel. Rummel trying to protect that 12 record. They made it to the state quarterfinals, as we said, back in 1997, their last trip there. And Renee, as we talked about in the pregame show as well, that one had Shaw written all over it. Rummel trying to turn things around as we get set for the kickoff here.
And of course, Doug, we talked a little bit about the game played in October where Rummel came away victorious 28-12. Coach Hank Tierney said there's no revenge factor. We'll see as the night goes on.
Gus Rivera kicks off for Shaw. On the return for Rummel, that is Casey Prescott. And Prescott up to the 30-yard line, and that is where the Raiders of Rummel will take over on the first offensive possession of this game. Let's set the stage for you offensively. Take a look at that big offensive line for Rummel. Gemar, Weibel, Loicano, Lacroix, Mirambell, Gleason. Talk about some of those big guys up there. Markey, Gogrieve, Wilson, Smith, the tailback, and Stelz, great big fullback. We'll talk about him throughout the broadcast also. An amazing athlete. 1st and 10 for the Raiders of Rummel, just underway from Joe Yenny. On the give, Eric Smith, and Smith up to the 35 before he's run out of bounds. Jamar Anderson and others in on the defensive play. Take a look at the defense for the Eagles of Shaw, coached by Hank Tierney. Michael Stewart, there's DeSalle, Winchester, and Williams, the front four. Linebackers, Anderson, Vaughn, Jacomine, and the defensive secondary, some real talent back there. Johnson, Joseph, St. Anne, and Dardar, whom we featured in the pregame show. 2nd and 5 from their own 35. Darius Wilson, and penalty flags. Love the atmosphere, Renee, for a game like this. You just can't beat it, can you?
Great atmosphere for high school football, Doug, and is probably going to see a lot tonight. 9 men in the box for the Shaw Eagles. Not a lot of passing this evening.
Wouldn't expect to, Renee.
No, you'll see 9 men in the box as Shaw has right now, just daring Rummel to toss the ball.
That's Eric Smith. And Smith beats one tackle and maybe picks up a yard. It'll be interesting, Renee, to see how the field holds up under the rain that we got earlier today, because if we can get a shot even eventually of the track around the field, it is like a moat.
Yeah, it's drained pretty well, Doug. Of course, as you well know, we've had so much rain the past few days here, and it's drained pretty well as best it can be expected. Of course, when the sun came out this evening, but yeah, it's going to be chewed up quite a bit, and you see the slippery footing just in a short while.
3rd down and 9 yards to go. On the keeper, nowhere to go. And the Shaw defense is fired up. And Rummel will be forced to punt on their first possession.
And you probably saw just now the fact that Darius Wilson's feet slid from underneath him. And you know, the thing is that Shaw, both these teams are facing option-type quarterbacks, and they're going to have to fill the running lanes, and every man on defense is going to have a key responsibility in order to shut down the other team. And Shaw, thus far, has done a pretty good job on Darius Wilson and company.
Gerardo Galdamez punting from his own 20-yard line. And it is fielded. And not much of a return right there. And that is where Shaw will take over. Here's the lineup for the Eagles of Shaw on the offense. Morgan, Fascio, Ankar, Tully, Wilkins, and Harvey. Chekwa, outstanding receiver, Broussard, Anderson, Adams, and Castile.
The thing you may see, Doug, on Shaw's wide receivers, all 6'2", 6'3", which opens up that opportunity of a slant route as the much have a slight advantage in height over the Rummel defensive backs.
Penalty on Shaw before we even get started, and that'll push them back to their own 19-yard line. Winner of this game will play the winner of the Karen Crow battle in the semifinals next week. First play for Shaw, and up the gut it is. And a nice pickup, a gain of about 6 on the play as Adams on the carry. Here's the defense for the Raiders of Rummel. Hebert, Turner, Mills, and McCreary, the front 4. Chatelaine, Cook, and Gordon, the linebackers. And in the defensive secondary, Dunbar, McDowell, Whitman, and Prescott. After a gain of 6, it'll be 2nd and 4. Spotted at their own 25-yard line. Terrence Anderson, the sophomore quarterback, on the keeper. And a nice pickup. He's got the first down and a little bit more. And nice heads-up play there by Anderson.
You know, that's those option-type offenses, Doug, put so much pressure on the corner people, not only the cornerbacks, but the linebackers and defensive ends. You see, you have to take the pitch man as a good fake by Anderson, sucks in the linebackers and defensive end. Good feel right there by Fernandez McDowell. Stop what could have been a long, long run by Terrence Anderson. And Terrence Anderson, they like him to a Vance Joseph, who led the Shaw Youth to a state title back in 1987.
Anderson. And that's up to about the 40-yard line as Brooke Adams on the carry there.
Brooke Adams with nearly 600 yards. He had 150 yards last week, and a great individual effort by Brooke Adams. He's just a gutty type of guy, runs between the tackles pretty well, and you won't bring him down with an arm tackle.
Rummel coming off that victory over Baker last week, 28-7, unbeaten on the year. Shaw has been tough in the postseason, and penalty flags halt the play. Boy, Renee, when you talk about Shaw and that defense, I know the offensive unit on the field right now, but they have been so tough, allowing just 7 points in their playoff wins over Baton Rouge Catholic and East St. John. So, and the offense does their job. They're confident to know that the defense will do theirs as well.
Illegal motion, but the thing is, right, Doug, and you know, you got two teams here. Rummel only allowing 13 points per game to their opponents, but Shaw is the stingiest defense in District 10-5A, only allowing 11 points per outing, as you alluded to, doing an outstanding job thus far in the playoffs.
2nd and 11 now from their own 35. Anderson back to pass. Now he'll tuck it in and run. Hang on to the ball. He's across the 40 and up to about the 42. Look like the Randall Cunningham school of holding the football there, just kind of exposing it.
Well, you know, Anderson, he's really does a great job. Just a sophomore and pretty cerebral guy. He's got a 2.9 GPA, so you don't make a lot of mental errors. As he's facing a blitz right here to Matthew Chatelaine. Eludes the blitz, breaks contain, and scoots up the field, breaks the tackle by Donald Cook before Jonathan McQuarrie peels back and makes the stop for a nice gain. 3rd and about 3 yards, call it 4.
Big 3rd down right here for Shaw, their first possession, and they have moved the football. Anderson on the pitch, and it's loose on the field, recovered by Rummel. Still loose. Maybe I was a bit premature. No, it's Rummel football. Recovered by Terrence, checked that by Jeremy Thibodeau.
And the reason why that didn't work, Doug, the quarterback running back exchange was just too close, and Anderson anticipated Brooke Adams to be a little bit further away, and he may have drifted back a little too far, and the pitch did not go as smoothly as normally anticipated, and now the Raiders have a great opportunity right here.
Great opportunity indeed. Eric Smith on the carry, and picking up maybe a yard on the play. We talked about J. Ross Raiders, their last trip to the state quarters back in '97. And of course, Shaw defeated them. There's some of that water.
Redfish running pretty good right now, Doug.
If you use catch your limit.
If you use live bait by the 30-yard line, you get yourself some reds, and you got some. You get some snappers right by the 10-yard line. It's a little bit deeper right
Expect to see a Piro going through there or something. On the carry, Eric Smith. And he plows straight ahead. We're going to see a physical battle here tonight, Renee, no doubt about it.
Oh, wow. You know, you got two offensive lines that are just really physical and with a great deal of size. Up across the front, you know, you got Weibel, Arcano, LaCruz, Maribel, and Gleason. Great size. Eric Smith, over 1,200 yards, just a junior coming back after extended injury period, and he's coming back really strong and done a great job. And he's got that 4.6 speed, great vision, Doug, and you'll see a lot of number 33, one of just a couple players for Rummel with over 1,000 yards on the season.
Just 61 passes all year for Rummel, and this one is a sack. They like to run it as Wilson goes down. Inspired defense by the Shaw squad, as they have risen to the occasion once again.
And number 87, Bobby Barbier, makes the stop here. Great pressure coming from the defensive end. You see right here, Bobby Barbier with the stop on Darius Wilson, which is no easy task, and of course his dad, Darren Barbier, the head coach of the LaSalle Cavaliers. And now the Raiders will be facing a potential field goal opportunity.
That is Chris Molina, plenty of distance, and it's good. From 45 yards, he connects on the field goal, and it's 3-0. The Rummel Raiders have taken the lead in this state quarterfinal game. Time for us to take a timeout. 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Rummel has the lead. It's the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports. back at Joe Yenny Stadium, the Raiders of Rummel off to a 3-0 lead, thanks to a now official 46-yard field goal by Chris Molina. Boy, no doubt about that one, Renee.
That's his career long, or tied his career long, 46, and what a big kick that was.
Molina on the kickoff squirts it up the middle, and that one is picked up by Donald Williams. Williams up across the 35 and almost to the 40-yard line on the return. So Shaw with its second possession of the game offensively, and the first one did not end with a positive result that resulted in a turnover and a Rummel field goal. Hanging onto the football is going to be an interesting issue. There's no precipitation in the air, but the field is very wet, and it's starting to show some signs of all that rain.
Yeah, it's going to be torn up a little bit. Interesting. Terrence Anderson, they liken him a lot to a Darius Wilson type, his opponent for the Rummel Raiders.
That is Carl Castile on the carry. He's up across the 45, and a gain of about 7 on the play. The 5'11", 190-pound junior hasn't carried the ball a lot this season, just about 150 yards.
Yeah, but he had a touchdown against Evangel, an 85-yard scamper against Catholic High. Runs between the tackles, a very hard-nosed, as is most of the Shaw running backs, Brooke Adams, Castillo, Floyd Jones, and of course Terrence Anderson. He's not a between the tackles guy, but great vision and great running lanes.
Shaw with 3 returning starters on offense. That's Castile again. He's got some room. Breaking tackles up to the 30 and into about the 26-yard line, deep into Rummel territory.
And Castile has made the most of his opportunity. And he's breaking a lot of arm tackles. Last week, a lot of the focus was on Brooke Adams, and Castile has his opportunity to shine. Boy, he's making some good cuts at full speed. Breaks the tackle right here by McDowell, and had not been the pursuit of Prescott tripping him up, he might have been end zone bound as the Eagles are inside the 30-yard line, Doug.
And we've got a whistle stopping play. Seen some flags fly in here tonight so far.
Premature movement by the tight end of Shaw will bring it back 5 yards. Not a pass thrown yet we're into 4 minutes, and I don't anticipate too many passes tonight from these two.
Shaw coming off that victory over East St. John 17-7. And we talk about that defense for Shaw, but wow, they have had 5 shutouts this season. They just, as I say, when they just know the defense is going to get the job done.
And they got their school record is 6 shutouts, and I'm sure they're looking to, they won't do it tonight, but they're looking to put one up before the season's over, which means they'll be playing next week.
Got motion on the offensive line once again, and it looked to be the tight end, Spencer Morgan. So Shaw with some penalty problems here after a nice long run by Carl Castile. And we've got now 3:19 remaining here in the first quarter.
That time it was Fauché. He was the right tackle, a senior. Moved a little early for the assessment.
Anderson, a rare pass, incomplete. The intended receiver was Castile on a first down and 20 yards to go play. Nice crowd on hand here, beautiful weather. No rain, that's a good sign. Thought we'd have some rain here tonight.
Thankfully we didn't, but I don't think either one of us is going to melt. But that was a good pressure situation by Matthew Chatelaine, coming from his strong outside linebacker position. Perhaps forced Terrence Anderson to throw the ball a little sooner than he wanted to. Didn't allow him to set up for a good shot at Castile.
Second down, 20 yards to go. It's at the 39-yard line. The draw, no, a fake. And the pass across the middle, incomplete. The intended receiver was Ike Chekwa, and almost an interception opportunity there for Rummel.
And Chekwa's that big receiver that doesn't match up well against the much shorter defensive backs in the Catholic League. He's 6'3", good play faking here. Play action and trying to hit Chekwa on a crossing pattern across the middle. He's got 40 grabs, 6 of them for touchdowns on the season. He's got 4.45 speed. He's only a junior, Doug. He'll be a big-time recruit next season.
Shaw has a little bit of youth on that offensive line. Good news for Hank Tierney. Some of those players coming back. Anderson on the quarterback draw. Wow, breaking some tackles, and he's down to the 25-yard line. And we've got a penalty flag on the field. It looks like some type of flagrant foul on Shaw.
Yeah, you had a little bit of a discussion with number 61, Fred Wilkins, and numbers 96, Jeff Turner of Rummel. You can't see it on your screen. You know, he's not as fast as Chiron Carey, but outstanding speed off the cut. And he's got great vision, great mobility, and boy, he's a load.
It is a personal foul against Shaw, and boy, this series, Renee, has been penalty plagued, has it not?
Yeah, it's really shot Shaw in the foot. They had great opportunity. A couple of motion penalties brought it back, and this penalty has really moved him back out of field goal range.
So Kerry Cardinal, the Shaw punter, steps onto the field, and a drive that looked so positive has turned out to be a punting situation. Cardinal standing at his own 45.
Watch out for Dunbar. He's lethal with punt returns. He ran back against Shaw last time these two teams met.
And trying to get it for the coffin corner, but no, a catch. And that is Darren Gogreve, and he's up to the 20. Usually the rule is if you're standing at the 10, it goes over your head, let it go.
Just lost track of where he was, but I'm sure the coaches will address that situation with him during a timeout.
2:07 remaining here in the first quarter. Let's head downstairs. And the third member of our broadcast crew, and that's where Alexander Laurent is. Alex.
Although it has rained unbelievably for the last few days, conditions of the field really aren't that bad, okay? For example, if you look around the outside of the field, take a look at this. You have the whole entire field is surrounded by about 5 inches of water, and the great thing about that is that it is not getting onto the field. The field is draining very nicely, and although it is slippery for the players, it is nice. So not a problem today as it was last Friday. Back up to you guys.
Anything's an improvement, right?
You know, I'd like Alexander to know if he's laid the traps out yet, because, you know, the water, we don't have any white caps yet, but you may have some crab traps that may come across with something here. We can boil them up when the game's over, Doug.
I'll tell you what, you brought the boil, didn't you?
I brought the boil.
All right. 2nd and 10. And breaking tackles is Eric Smith. Nice effort, and he's just short of the first down. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
You know, the thing about Eric Smith, he stepped into that role that Darren Parkett played last year, moved on to LSU. He's got a little wiggle in his run, but, you know, he'll run over people. He likes to drag you. He's exceptionally strong for a 5'10", 175-pound running back. Bench press is over 300 pounds, Doug, and he's only getting better. He's had 188 yards against St. Aug and an outstanding game against Baker as well with 144 yards. And, boy, he's getting better at the right time.
3rd and short, it's not. First down for the Raiders of Rummel. You know, a player we love to talk about is Kevin Stelz, too. What an athlete. I'll tell you, stand next to this kid, and you just are amazed at his size and strength.
He can bench press Gretna, and you know, we'll talk a little bit about what he can do.
Number 44 will get a chance to get a shot at him, but he is 5'10", 260 pounds. He came to the school as a 190-pound 8th grader. There's a shot of him right there. Kid bench presses 485 pounds.
Yeah, and he's an offensive lineman in the backfield, but he does have a few bones they throw to him. He's got 5 touchdowns to his credit, so he likes to taste the end zone once in a while.
Smith on the carry, and nowhere to go there. And we've got penalty flags as Gogreve on the other side of the field is pleading to the official for a penalty flag, and he got it. Some type of interference taking place over there.
You know, Doug, the thing about Stelz, which is good, last year,
and we've got some offsetting penalties. Let's head downstairs. Alexander Laurent has another report for us. Alex.
We talked a little bit about Kevin Stelz, number 44. This kid, they call him the enforcer. Now, just to correct you, he benches 500 pounds, so it's 15 more pounds, and I'm sure he wants the credit for it. But at any rate, they have the highest respect for him. He demands respect of his teammates. When he speaks in practice, they listen to him. They say that at the point of attack, he is absolutely unbelievable on impact. This is a kid we definitely have to keep an eye on for the rest of the game, guys. Back up to you.
Thanks, Alex. You know what he probably did is before the game he went in and bench press, and 485 was the max, and he did 500. And that's a last-minute update.
I want to tell you, Alexander challenged him to an arm wrestling contest, but it was over the telephone. You can see right here as he's leading Eric Smith, and he was a lead blocker for Parquette last year, who went over the 2,000-yard mark, and a pair of 1,000-yard rushes this year, so he does his job.
End of the first quarter, 3-0 Rummel leads his quarterfinal game. Back with more. It's the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports. Welcome back to Joe Yenny Stadium. 3-0 Rummel out in front. I want to thank our sponsors for this game. As soon as we get
as Wilson scoots over the left side for a nice pickup, short of the 40-yard line. We're inside of 12 minutes to go here, and the Rummel Raiders leading 3-0. Good look at Darius Wilson, the senior. He's the only twice-named captain of the Rummel Raiders throughout the school's history, and drops back. This is a design play as he good foot action in the pocket, good blocking up front. Recruits with a good block, and Gleason as Wilson scoots up for a nice carry. He'll be in a 4th down as the Raiders will have to relinquish the ball, 4th and 2.
For me, Renee. That's my microphone went out. Having to punt. And they're whistling it dead as Galdamez's punt. And we're going to have them bring it back and try it again. Want to mention to you, this game is brought to you in part by Prime Equipment Company, distributors of man lifts, tower generators, scissor lifts, and more for commercial and industrial contracting. If you need a lift, call Prime Equipment Company at 348-2841. For special event planning or trade shows, banquets, luncheons, basketball tournaments, concerts, conventions, and more, call the Alario Center on the West Bank. October 4th through the 9th, the World Paintball Federation Tournament. How about that? October 9th through the 13th, the West Side Evangelistic Revival. Both are open to the public. For a complete schedule of events, see their website at www.alariocenter.com, or you can call them at 349-5525.
Good look at Coach Hank Tierney as Terrence Anderson scoots on the left side. He's been here forever, and he won a state title with Vance Joseph at the controls back in 1987. He's looking to get back to the Superdome once again. Of course, we talked about Rummel. Has never been to the semifinals since 1982. If they win this game, they'll be back there again. So there are a lot at stake here for both these clubs.
Anderson. And he unloads it in the end zone. Open receiver, but he cannot hook up with Spencer Morgan. Morgan was open, but Anderson could not make the connection.
You know, he's got a couple of grabs, one for a touchdown. His only touchdown catch was against the Rummel Raiders. So history almost repeated itself this season. That was a tough throw by Terrence Anderson. Doesn't throw very much. He's completed, as you see, a good look right here, 6 out of 11 passes. Terrence Anderson rolling right. A little pressure comes from the inside of Donald Cook, and incomplete.
3rd down, 7 yards to go. Early second quarter. Anderson to pass. He's hit as he throws it. The pass is complete. It's Chekwa, the receiver, and scoring. He takes it in for the touchdown, and Shaw has gotten on the board and leads it 6-3.
And you know, we talked about Chekwa a little while ago, Doug. The reason Chekwa is so dangerous, he's got that 6'3" frame, 190 pounds. That's his 7th touchdown catch of the campaign. his 41st catch. Good play action faking right here as Stephen Gordon comes with a little pressure. Anderson stays in the pocket, hits Chakwa on a crossing pattern, beats the coverage, and into the end zone for the score.
The point after attempt is good. As Thibodeau takes care of business, 7-3. Shaw now on top. We'll be back with more in just a moment. It's the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports. There's the man who has given Shaw a 7-3 lead in this state quarterfinal game. Ike Chekwa with a nice reception as he took it in for the score.
And that was the first completion by either team. That stat supplied to us by Ray Pratt, our expert stat man right behind us.
Gus Rivera kicking off for Shaw. And on the return, that is Dunbar. Dunbar still going. My goodness. And now they're saying that Shaw has the football.
The Eagles, it looks like the ball may have been stripped out of his hand. And if that is the case, the Eagles have a great opportunity at about the 37-yard line. Doug, we're going to see another look and see if we can pick it up somewhere. Dunbar doesn't turn over the ball very often. Expert return man looking for the alley, cutting it back right here. He's holding the ball pretty well. Can't see where it came loose, but evidently in that mob of humanity, ball came loose right there, right there. It is the Shaw Eagle ball.
And Shaw, after just scoring a touchdown, now gets it back. They take over at the 37-yard line of Rummel. On his way is Brooke Adams. And he's in for a score. Back-to-back touchdowns for the Eagles of Shaw as they now lead 13-3. And just like that, Renee, turnovers have resulted in points.
Yeah, and that's great blocking by Tully, Wilkins, Ankar, Fauché, and Harvey. And Brooke Adams, you're not going to tackle him with an arm. Right up the gut. Breaking tackles, his 9th score of the season. And boy, he's off to the races with that 4.55 speed. Good effort there by Jonathan McQuarrie, but can't catch him from behind. And outstanding play. The Eagles go up ahead.
And Thibodeau with the PAT makes it a 14-3 Shaw lead over Rummel. Back with more action in a moment. It's the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports. The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you in part by Bone Ford, by Prime Equipment Company, AAA Trophies, the Ilario Center, Hobnobber Cafe, L&J's Fashions, and WHNO Sports. Certainly glad you joined us. Shaw capitalizing on a Rummel turnover to make it a 14-3 game right now, as we are still early in the second quarter. On the return and dragged down is Casey Prescott. Shaw playing some inspired football right now.
Good individual effort by Robbie Rhodes for the stop. Good look right there at Brooke Adams for a touchdown. The junior puts the Eagles ahead 14-3 at the 9:43 mark. Duggan, Rummel opened up with a field goal with a 3-0 lead, and Shaw comes back roaring with 2 touchdowns. And be interesting to see with Darius Wilson what he'll do with the offense. A guy who started for 3 years in the Catholic League. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. We'll see how he handles the situation.
Not a team that you expect could come back and strike quickly, given that they like to do what they do on the ground. Smith on the carry, and he's dropped after a gain of about 3, but still plenty of time, just 9.5 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. And as we say, 14-3 Shaw.
Good effort on the left side by Miriam Bell and Gleason, opening up a gaping hole. You see a good look at Jay Roth, who quarterbacked the Rummel Raiders back in 1980 to a perfect season, finds himself as the headmaster of the Raiders this year and doing a pretty outstanding job right now. Their perfect season is in jeopardy.
12-0. It's been a storybook year, has it not? That's Wilson. And Wilson spins across the 25 and up to about the 27-yard line.
As Wilson, good play faking to Stelz and just follows him right through that cavity created by Stelz and the pulling guard. That was Boyacano for a nice little pickup. Call it 2nd down and about 7. Discussion on the field inside of 9 minutes. Potential 1st down right here, Doug. Might be a little short.
Talked about that.
Like I said, it's right on.
That Shaw defense we've talked about just last week in that game against East St. John, as you see Jay Roth, the head coach of Rummel. But the Shaw defense allowed just 99 yards rushing against East St. John. And Jay Roth and his Rummel squad right now have their work cut out for them. Still plenty of time, but it's hard to come back against the Shaw team.
They have become the hunted with an unblemished 12-0 season.
Straight ahead, and boy, there's no easy job in trying to bring down Kevin Stelz. And Stelz, boy, he just plows straight ahead and picks up about 7-8 yards. Jay Roth, the head coach of the Rummel Raiders, talked about some interesting things, including the last meeting and playoff game before this contest. Let's hear his comments.
How tough is it to repeat the same kind of victory as you did just about 4 or 5 weeks ago?
I think it's always tough for anybody to beat anybody twice in the same season, but our kids realize they haven't won the final 8. It doesn't matter who we play. We're going to play the same type of game we played before.
It's a little bit damp out here. What's the keys to victory tonight, Jay?
Ball control, the line of scrimmage of both teams, and the team that makes the least mistakes holding on to the football.
Good luck, Coach.
Jay Roth, the head coach of the Rummel Raiders, who are trying to erase a 14-3 deficit right now. Wilson spinning out to the left side, and it's one-on-one literally. Nice extra effort as he gets the 1st down with a burst across the 40-yard line of Rummel, and basically just took care of business as he took Sammy Joseph about an extra 5 yards.
You know, he's over 1,000 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns. He averages 6.6 yards every time he carries the ball, Doug. But you know the thing about him, he's the glue of this offense. 3.2, great point average, great vision, good decisions. Tucks that ball in the right hand, get away from the defender, and boy, he lowers his shoulder into Sammy Joseph. That is not a shoddy tackler, and picks up the 1st down for the Raiders.
So a 1st and 10 now. Rummel on the move. That is Stelz. And Stelz, there is no easy job in trying to pull him down. I am just amazed at the ability of that guy just to press on. I mean, he's 260. He's like an offensive line. He's like the fridge.
You know, I thought Mardi Gras was in February, Doug, but I'm watching a float crush beer cans right now as they go through the holes. You know, it's going to be tough to tackle this guy. It's like releasing a brake on a Greyhound bus and just watching him roll downhill. You're not going to tackle this guy one person. It's going to take a multitude of people to bring down number 44.
2nd and 8 now. That's Wilson as the give to the right side, and some nice deception right there as Stelz once again on the carry.
And don't discount his ball carrying ability. I know he's known for his blocking prowess, but he's got 5.9 yards per carry. Watch, this is just release the brake, rolling downhill, get out of the way. It's green light. He keeps those feet moving, and you're not going to bring him down with 3 or 4 people. It's going to have You're going to be jumping out of the stands or jump on his back. He's got 5 touchdowns, and what a great runner in short yardage.
To the near side, that is Dunbar, and he is met at about the 18-yard line. Correction, Smith on the carry as the junior finds a little bit of running room off to the left side.
Good block by Loicano, allowed him bumped. That was St. Anne as Smith got outside using that 4.6 speed. He's usually a north-south runner, but he used his vision pretty good. And again, he's a slasher, will pick up extra yardage. And the Rummel offensive wall has started to take control of this series.
We'll talk about the size of that offensive line. There are some big kids up front. Over to the right side, Smith again. Not quite the same results he had on the last carry. 5.5 minutes remaining here before the half. 14-3, Shaw with the lead. State quarterfinal game. Doug Greengard along with Renee Nato, the winner of the Errett Karen Crow contest in next week's semifinal.
You know, you talked about that offensive wall, and Loicano is the best. 6'3", 305. LSU Tulane, McNeese, Monroe, and Nichols are among his suitors. He's going to make a good one as an offensive guard.
3rd and 2. That is Smith. And it'll be close, but it looks like he does have the first down. We'll have to wait and see.
Runs behind Lecrutzen Mirabel. Well, he was running right, but bounced it back as St. Anne filled from his strong safety position and made a tackle.
This game brought to you in part by Prime Equipment Company, distributors of man lifts, tower generators, scissor lifts, and more for commercial and industrial contracting. For all your lifting needs, all you need to do is call Prime Equipment Company at 348-2841 for special event planning of trade shows, banquets, luncheons, basketball tournaments, concerts, conventions, and more. Call the Alario Center on the West Bank. All kinds of things going on the 4th through the 9th of both are open to the public. All kinds of events coming up. Check out their website, alariocenter.com. That's Wilson on the carry. As they did get the first down, as you saw.
Great effort by Jamar Anderson, helped by Chase Dardar. As Anderson right there, number 30, and Chase Dardar on the stop on Darius Wilson. Eric Smith, the leading ball carrier, coming out of the game right now. He's got 11 carries, 31 yards. Good look at Hank Tierney. King Henry and his staff for the Shaw Eagles now with a 14-3 lead. And as we mentioned, Rummel's offensive wall has, wow, Kevin Stelz goes to tailback.
2nd and 11 now. Wilson, and he'll throw. Into the end zone, and it is intercepted. Chase Dardar coming up with the interception. He's got his team high 11th of the year.
And you know, he's the leading tackler on this team, and it shows why Shaw may be arguably the best defensive secondary in the state. Darius Wilson dropping back with a lot of time, looking for what appeared to be Markey, number 82, in the corner of the end zone, and Chase Dardar just took it away. Just good position. And we mentioned Chase Dardar already signed to play baseball at ULL. 13-2 record as a pitcher and outstanding shortstop will be for the Raging Cajuns.
Had a big interception in the victory over East St. John last week, and new quarterback going deep. And that's Rachel, who has come into the game, and the intended receiver. Looked like Chekwa.
Yeah, it was Check when he was running a streak route right in the middle of the seam. Rachel is more of the passer. He's got over 1,100 yards passing. He's got 271 yards running, but he is the passer of the two, and he comes in a little different dimension. Very, very smart guy. We'll talk about what kind of background he comes from.
Rachel on the give, and that is Brooke Adams, and he's up to about the 29-yard line. Rachel, a sophomore, 5'11", 170-pounder. They got some young quarterbacks over there at Shaw.
Yeah, and as he gives the ball to Brooke Adams, the thing about Rachel, he has never made a B since he's been at Shaw. And Brooke Adams looking, as he's running, great vision, hitting the right spots, getting some good running lanes. And Rachel, again, never made a B, never makes a mistake, always checks to the right guy, and a 3.8 GPA, and wow.
I never made a B either.
Yeah,
I got lower than that. Adams, looks like the ball came loose. And let's see who came up with it. Still a scramble going on down there. And as you can see, these teams are having a hard time hanging on to the ball. Let's head downstairs and hear from Alexander Laurent. Alex?
Okay, Doug, the first time around, these two teams met. Shaw was not quite as physical as they are tonight. They are a much more physical team. Over the last few games, they have developed more of a brutality. I mean, they are a very brutal team now compared to when they were the last time. Now, they lost that last game, but what's happening right now is when you lose to a team, it is up to you to make the adjustments. The team that won, basically, they just play the same game. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Alex. 1st and 10. Rachel's pass is complete. That's Adams. And Adams not quite getting back to the line of scrimmage. They'll spot that one at about the 32-yard line. You can see we're coming up on the 2-minute mark here in the first half, 14-3. The visitors, Shaw, leading the home team, Rummel, 14-3.
And Rachel swings it out here to Brooke Adams. Good fake down the field. And Chatelain was right in the right spot. Just could not wrap him up. And now he cuts against the grain, and he's tough. Right here, breaks the tackle by McQuarrie. Finally, Donald Cook, a freshman, we'll talk about him in a second, makes the stop along with, looks like Mills. Oh, was that Turner?
Your guess is as good as mine at this point. Rachel sacked. Nice defensive play by Jonathan McQuarrie leading the rush.
And McQuarrie coming from his right defensive end position. You know, he's a converted linebacker, not really big, first-year starter. Puts the pressure, beats the outside, that's Jasper Harvey, and gets a hand on Rachel, and aided by Chatelain. And that was a really big play right there because Rachel did have some men receiver open.
So they list McQuarrie, as you see, number 43 there for the Raiders, is 6 foot 180. He looks bigger than that, but as you said, he really more of a linebacker and now a defensive lineman's body. Or position on the give, nowhere to go. And now Rummel's defense is rising up as Carl Castile is knocked for a loss.
Let me tell you about this guy, Donald Cook. Right there, number 41, he's a freshman. As an 8th grader in spring last year, they did a drill, and he went against Mario Loicano, who's 6'3", 305. He stood him up in a hole, stood him up, made the tackle. They said, this guy, 5'10", 175, he's a stuffer. We need to find a spot for him. He's been the middle linebacker ever since, and he's got a great future here. You can compare him to a Chris Clark or James Williams, who are all Metro-type linebackers for the Rummel Raiders.
We want to mention to you, if you want a VHS copy of tonight's game or any of the WHNO high school games of the week, send a check or money order for $25 to WHNO TV 20, 1100 Jefferson Davis Parkway, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70125.
And the thing is, that was a good blitz by Donald Cook, and that's something that Coach Roth and his staff going to have to look at. If Rachel stays in there, they have to put the pressure on him because he's got some great receivers that can be tough to guard one-on-one in man coverage.
So Shaw forced to punt as Kerry Cardinal from his own 5-yard line just gets it off. And that one's going to bounce, and there will be a return. Picking it up for Rummel is Gogreve. Needs some help and doesn't get much. He's driven back to the 41-yard line of the Raiders.
Can't get much when you run east-west, and that's where Shaw kept him. Didn't allow him to turn the corner, and good look at Chase Dardar right there, the leader of that defense. As Gogreve takes it right here and really did not make many positive steps. The Eagles did not allow that. Good stringing them out right here by Craig Hebert and staff, and Cameron Vaughn was also in on the tackle for the Eagles.
Rummel, 12-0 this season. That's Wilson, and he'll keep it, cutting back and spinning and breaking tackles, but he will not even get back to the line of scrimmage. 25 seconds. as the Raiders utilize a timeout. This is the first one they've used this half.
As Wilson dropping back, looking for a receiver, decides to tuck and go, and as he releases, good stop right here. That was Darrell Williams, and he's aided by Jacomine for the stop. As you mentioned, under 25 seconds. There's not much Rummel can do here. It's 2nd and 11. They'd like to get on the scoreboard, Doug, but not a lot of distance you can go on the ground in 25 seconds. You have to put the ball in the air at least once. A longer version.
And the key here, too, is not to turn it over. You do not want to put the ball in the hands of Shaw and give him an opportunity to get into the end zone. That would put a damper on the comeback. Wilson. And almost to midfield, and they'll use another timeout and stop the clock with 16 seconds remaining.
And it's just a quarterback draw. It's the design play as Stout steps up. He's the guardian angel for Darius Wilson as Wilson skirts up, and Barbier makes the stop along with Jacomine, and Wilson will get some instructions for Coach Roth and the staff. Under 16.2 seconds, and I'm sure the Raiders would love to get on the scoreboard and close this gap as they trail by 11 points to Hank Tierney and the Shaw Eagles.
Great history between these two schools, as we talked about. They met in the quarterfinals back in 1997. Of course, Shaw was the victor there, and then earlier this year, the two teams met, as they do in Catholic League play, and Rummel with their first win over Shaw in 15 years.
Yeah, and last time, you know, there's always a revenge factor. Coach Tierney says there wasn't, but you can bet that Shaw has seen the film of that last meeting numerous times.
On 3rd and 5, Wilson with the carry makes it to the 45, and now they use their last timeout and stop the clock with 8 seconds remaining. So,
and Wilson on a little bit of a draw right there and skirts up the field, and his legs just gave under him.
And now they're just going to let the clock run out, as you see. And that brings us to halftime. 14-3. The Eagles of Shaw out in front of the Raiders of Rummel. And it's been an interesting first half. Turnovers have played a big part, Renee. And some sloppy conditions, not nearly as bad as we probably would have thought, but got to think some moisture on the ball has caused some turnovers.
Well, yeah, and not only that, the Shaw Eagles have capitalized on the miscues of the Rummel Raiders and really jumped on them with a 14-3 lead. And Darius Wilson carried the ball a lot, but only 23 yards thus far. That's kind of a surprise, and he'll have to have a big game along with Eric Smith in order for the Rummel Raiders to come back from this 11-point deficit.
It's halftime, and the Eagles of Shaw leading the Raiders of Rummel 14-3. And we'll be back with halftime and much more after we take a timeout. Back with more in a moment. It's the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Bone Ford, Prime Equipment Company, the Ilarial Center, AAA Trophies, Hobnobber Express Deli Cafe, and WHNO TV 20.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you in part by Bone Ford, by Prime Equipment Company, AAA Trophies, the Ilario Center, the Hobnobber Cafe, L&J Fashions, and WHNO Sports. Hi everyone, Doug Ringard along with Renee Nato. We're at halftime, and the Shaw Eagles out in front of the Raiders of Rummel 14-3 in the state quarterfinal matchup of the two Catholic League teams. Take a look at a couple of highlights and Renee, Shaw has really taken over.
And, you know, Raiders jumped up with a 46-yard field goal, but the Eagles answered with Rachel dropping back, hitting Chekwa on a slant, and the big 6'3" junior grabs it, collects it right here, and just outraces the coverage and beats the Raiders to the corner of the end zone for a score. First touchdown for the Shaw Eagles, puts them up 7-3.
Then they came right back and hooked up on another touchdown, which we'll see right now, just getting the job done on the ground also, Renee.
And Brooke Adams was the foot soldier right here, just following right behind, look, right behind number 61. Great kick-out block by Fred Wilkins. Does a little bit on his own, breaking tackles by Prescott. And on his way, touchdown bound for Brooke Adams. That was touchdown number 9 on the season and puts the Eagles up 14-3. And boy, I tell you what, that's Coach Hank Tierney. Really, the Eagles have taken control after that field goal by the Rummel Raiders.
And let's take a look at some of the statistics in the first half, and you'd be surprised. Look at Shaw on the first downs, and they lead the game 14-3, Renee.
A little bit of a surprise, yes, in the rushing department. Rummel has been trying to come back, Darius Wilson and Eric Smith, but also Stouts has been adding to that rushing. But the total offense, of course, Rummel with the advantage there, and the lead on the scoreboard, most important. Turnovers, that really has hurt the Raiders.
Yes, it certainly has. And let's go downstairs now, just moments ago, where our Alexander Laurent caught up with Shaw head coach Hank Tierney.
Okay, Coach, you got a comfortable lead so far.
Comfortable? I don't think it's too comfortable. We we took advantage of a turnover on that punt, but this is still anybody's game.
What do you do now, Coach? I mean, obviously turnovers are, in a game like this, are going to be the key to a lot of situations.
Well, we commit too many penalties. We hurting ourselves. When we get the ball in the second half, the best thing that can happen to us is to get a long drive and eat some clock and try to get some points on the board.
What do you do to change? I mean, what can you do? What are you going to tell your players right now?
I'm going to tell them keep playing hard. Don't be stupid as far as penalties. Keep playing hard and good things will happen.
All right, Coach. Good luck second half. All right.
That's Hank Tierney. Never a shortage for words. Just gets right to the point, doesn't he?
That Hank, he's a old silver-tongued gentleman.
Second half coming your way. Shaw leads it 14-3. Back with more. It's the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports. Rummel kicking off to start the second half. And on the return for Shaw, that is St. Anne. He's gone the way to the 50-yard line. What a great return to start this second half. Wayne St. Anne had some room, and he found a hole and went after it, didn't he, Renee?
You know, as they begin the second half, Doug, not only momentum, but emotion has really gone over the Shaw Eagles. And boy, I tell you what, you can feel it as the Eagles come back in the field with that 14-3 lead. That is not enough, and you can bet the Rummel Raiders are very aware of the fact they're in a deficit right now.
So Shaw with the first possession. The handoff is to Castile. Saw him break a big run in the first half. And he's up to about the 44-yard line as they make their way into Rummel territory. Let's head downstairs just before the second half began, and our Alexander Laurent spoke with Jay Roth, the head coach of the Rummel Raiders.
Okay, Coach, down 14-3 now. What did you differently coming back in?
Well, we can't give them two short fields. We gave them 2 30-yard drives for touchdowns. They've kind of outplayed us in the first half. We didn't break. When you turn it over twice, once on a punt, we put our knee down, once we fumble the kickoff, it's hard,
What do you tell your players?
Well, with 24 minutes from either going on or packing up, we got to get it together.
All right, Coach, good luck second half.
Thank you, Alex. Brooke Adams there on the carry. And it's going to be now 3rd and 5 for the Eagles of Shaw.
And the thing is, the guys like Gordon, Terrence Dunbar, Lamar Mills are going to have to step up big defensively for the Raiders to keep the Eagles in check this down series.
Rachel, and he will throw. He's got an open receiver. It's Castile. And that is going to be, I believe, a first down.
He found Castillo unattended in the near the sideline, on the flat, and but there's a nice pickup. Could be a first down. You have to measure on this, Doug.
Could have had more yardage, but Rachel's throw was a little bit short, forcing Castile to make the grab and dive for it just a bit. And what are they signaling? That it is a first down indeed. And so Shaw keeps the drive alive.
You know, the thing about Rachel, he is more of a passer than Terrence Anderson, who started the game, but Coach Tierney and the staff feel like they've never had a more intelligent quarterback. That's not to downplay anybody else who's come through the system, but he always makes the right checks. Only a sophomore, and we mentioned, never made a B academically. Boy, what a great package he is. He's going to be only better.
The All A's club. Castile, the ball carrier, as he plows up to about the 36-yard line. Crowd's gotten a little quieter here in the second half, especially after that Shaw first down. 9:48 remaining here in the third quarter.
You know, the thing about Rummel, they score the most points throughout the season in the fourth quarter. This is a team that doesn't give up and certainly has the opportunity to come back and the weapons to come back.
2nd and 7. Rachel's pitch is to Adams. And Adams with a collision. And down inside the 25-yard line for another first down.
Prescott trying to cover both Rachel and Brooke Adams. Can't do it. Can't be in two spots at once as he tried to read the quarterback right, number 13 right here. Tries to read the quarterback, make him pitch, and try to take the runner. He needs help on that as Donald Cook pursues number 41 with a little help from McDowell for the stop.
So 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line of Rummel as Shaw continues to threaten. That is Castile, and nice defense by the Raiders. Stephen Gordon, the 6-foot, 190-pound senior, comes up to make the stop.
It is a weak outside linebacker, Doug. He had 11 sacks last season. He's got 9 sacks this campaign. He's a 2-year starter, over 100 stops on the season. Does a great job. He's a leader. Also doubles as the deep snapper on punts and extra points. He's being looked at by Northeast Louisiana, ULL, and Nichols. He's the captain of the defense, number 46, Stephen Gordon.
2nd and 12 after that loss. Rachel to throw. Had an open receiver, almost intercepted. Boy, that one going right through the hands of Russell Russo. Check that, make that Fernand McDowell, as he almost came up with the interception.
And you know, he knows what to do with it, Doug, after he catches the ball, if he would have caught it. He's a converted tailback. He's had 2 picks against Brother Martin, a pair of picks against St. Augustine, and he's really going to be good. He's only a sophomore, but they liken him to a former Shaw Eagle who now plays for the Oakland Raiders, Corey James.
Just saw him this past week.
And he's going to be a good one.
That he is. Rachel under pressure, dumps it off. Castile. And he's down to about the 19-yard line. And there's some numbers for Adams. 7 carries, 69 yards, including that touchdown run in the first half.
And he had a century and a half last game. He had 150 yards. He is really a tough, hard-nosed runner between the tackles. That screen set up by Rachel really was an outstanding job for only a sophomore quarterback. Sucked all the defense in and allowed the runner to get up the field for a nice pickup.
We got a timeout on the field. It's 14-3 Shaw midway through the third quarter. Back with more. It's the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports. There's a look at the Eagles of Shaw leading Rummel 14-3 here mid-third quarter. in this state quarterfinal matchup. These two teams met back in October. Rummel beat Shaw for the first time in 15 years. It's hard to beat the same team twice in one season, isn't it, Renee?
Doesn't happen very often, not in this Catholic League. And you know, you have Fauché and Cartali, Willikins and Harvey up front for the Shaw Eagles, doing an outstanding job, giving Rachel ample time to pass or great lanes to run through.
The Rummel sidelines and the crowd coming to life, knowing Rummel needs to have a big defensive effort here. Rachel's pass incomplete as they go for it on 4th down and 4 to go. And that was a big defensive effort there from Rummel. They needed that.
And Rachel drops back looking for Castile. He's covered low by Cook, high by Prescott, and Cook, again, only a freshman, does a pretty good job. They compare him, I call him a little Tasmanian devil. Not very big, 5'10", 175, but Doug, as a freshman, shows an awful lot of maturity, and if he's in the neighborhood of Chris Clark or James Williams, what a future he's got here with the Raiders.
That's Darius Wilson, and the pitch is Smith, and he's run out of bounds near the line of scrimmage. And let's talk some strategy here. 7:49 remaining here in the third quarter. Rummel trying to erase a 14-3 deficit. They've got to keep doing what they know to do, and that's run the football.
Yeah, they do, and they may have to keep Shaw honest with a pass, be it a screen or a little short version. But the thing is that right now the Eagles are really keen on shutting down the run. They're doing a pretty good job. Pretty good play just now made by Jacomine, and of course, those defensive backs, they're good not only because of pass defense, they come up and fill for the run as well.
Once again, Smith on the carry. And on 2nd down and 8 yards to go, does not look like any gain on the play.
And coming up to fill was Chase Dardar. He's got 112 stops on the season. He's just a big playmaker, Doug. You know, we saw that interception, his 11th of the campaign in the first half, and he was a quarterback as a sophomore, a vicious hitter. He's kind of like a Lee Rogers who played for the Shaw Eagles, now playing for Nicholls State, and got a nose for the ball. You know, to show how good he is, he spied as they played Salomon, and spied on Tristan Smith, the quarterback, and really shut him down and allowed Shaw to win that game. He is very versatile.
3rd and 4, they say. Wilson. And he is dragged down at the 25-yard line for perhaps a gain of about 1. You know, you talk about that offensive line for Rummel, and you've got two guys who are 300 plus. Mirabel's at 315, Weibel at 300. A couple other guys in the 275 range for Gleason. And they're having a hard time moving the ball. They've got to create some holes. They haven't been able to do it against Shaw.
Yeah, you got Weibel and Mirabel coming back. Juniors, both 315, will be back for the 2001 season for the Raiders.
Galdamez back to punt. And on the reception, that is Dardar as he returns the punt and gets up across midfield. So great field position now for Shaw as they've got that 14-3 lead and trying to add to it.
And Dardar, again, so versatile. He's not the fastest, 4'7", Doug, but, you know, he's a leader, and he shows by example, and he's got this Shaw Eagles in great field position at about the 43-yard line right now, and we'll see if Ratio comes back. Got great opportunity. Terrence Anderson, haven't seen him since he exited early in the first half.
6:17 remaining. Ray Shell, the quarterback. The give is Adams. Adams putting on the move, still going. Check that, it's Castile. You got two guys that have numbers that look like 8 and 6, which they are. It's sometimes hard to differentiate, but that was Castile and a beautiful run from the junior.
Good blocking up front as good kick-out block by Wilkins once again, and Jasper Harvey up front leading as Castile skates up the field for a nice pickup. Good cutback right there, and finally tackle made by David Hebert in pursuit, and he's a converted defensive tackle from his left defensive end position, finally made the stop on Castile.
Spot the ball on the 19-yard line. And a nice pickup once again as Castile doing some heavy-duty carrying right now and carrying the load.
You know, Castile, after the game against Evangel. He had a turf toe injury and missed 6 weeks, and boy, I tell you what, he's came back really strong and really gave Shaw a shot in the arm. Last week it was Brooke Adams. This week, Carlo Castillo. And right now the Eagles, Doug, are hitting on all cylinders. We're inside of 6 minutes.
Second down, 2 yards to go. The ball at the 11-yard line. That is Adams. And Adams inside the 5-yard line. As Shaw threatens to score again, they lead at 14-3.
As the Raiders add some beef, as Mario Loyacano, who is not foreign to the defensive tackle position, comes in, is inserted as defensive lineman for the Raiders to try to plug in a hole and stop the bleeding as the Eagles continue to move closer and closer inside the 4-yard line.
Goal to go. And straight ahead as they go inside the tackles. It looks like the ball may be loose. This would be a big turnover, but it appears as though the ground caused the contact or the fumble. And as you know, that'll keep the football in the hands of Shaw.
McDowell came up with it, but action was already stopped. I tell you, this is a big drive, big series right here. 2nd and 2. And if there's ever a time for the Raiders to dig their heels in right now, because Shaw could seal the coffin with a score here.
Adams and Castile are the backs. And down to what? The 1-yard line, where it's going to bring up a 3rd down as Castile.
Collective breath being held by the Rummel support group here on this side. And boy, I tell you, you can hear a pin drop right now as the Eagles continue to inch closer. It's 3rd and 1, and this is 4-down territory. They are going for it. I'm sure Coach Tierney wants to nail the door shut.
3rd down and goal to go. And on the keeper, looks like they've got it.
As Terrence Anderson,
yes it is, Anderson back in the game.
Squeezes in behind the block of Rocky Tully for the score.
Anderson returning to the game and getting the touchdown. And now Shaw leading 20-3. As we're at 3.5 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Rummel really needed to come up with a defensive effort there and were unable to do so. Jerry Thibodeau, the junior, on and converting on the PAT. 21-3. Shaw now with a big lead in this Catholic League rivalry. And this one for all the marbles here in the state quarterfinals. Back with more in a moment. It's the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports. This game brought to you in part by Prime Equipment Company, distributors of man lifts, tower generators, scissor lifts, and more for commercial and industrial contracting. If you need a lift, call Prime Equipment Company at 348-2841. For special event planning of trade shows, banquets, luncheons, basketball tournaments, concerts, conventions, and more, call the Alario Center on the West Bank. For a complete schedule of events, visit their website at www.alariocenter.com or pick up the phone and call 349-5525. 21-3, Shaw out in front of Rummel.
Doug, this is going to be tough to answer that last score, and the Rummel Raiders have to get up and show what they're made out of right now, trailing 21-3 with 3:29 to go here in the 3rd.
Gus Rivera on the kickoff, and for the Raiders, that is Gogreve as the junior gets it back out to about the 20, make it the 21-yard line, and that's where the Rummel Raiders will begin this offensive series, trailing 21-3 Renee, it is crucial with 3:21 remaining here in the third quarter that they make something happen, and very soon.
Well, you know, the thing is, this series right here, Doug, they cannot get into a 3rd and long, 3rd and 7. They have to pick up 3, 4 or 5 yards. It's really imperative, this first down right here. This first down is going to have to be a 4-yard pickup. If not, second down is a little more pressure. They cannot get into a 3rd and long.
And Rummel's had a hard time moving the football. There's Wilson, dumps it off. And that is Smith. And Smith still on his feet. Great effort as he's up to about the 30-yard line. And there's a penalty flag on the field. You know, you talk about the Shaw defense. Last 2 playoff games, they've only allowed a total of 7 points. They've only allowed 3, so 10 in the last 3 games.
Set up a screen, and it may be called back as Smith has hit from the backside. It looks like Gleason may be the culprit there. May have had his hand caught in the cookie jar, and Eric Smith, after a nice pickup, it will be brought back. They're looking at a 1st and long now, and
not what Rummel needs.
And the Shaw faithful stand up in jubilant fashion, and I'll tell you what, the West Bankers feel they want to go back victorious here. And Rummel, right now, with their backs against the wall, facing long situation here. It's 1st and 20.
You're right, Renee. Backs to the wall in more ways than one. Backed up pretty close to their own end zone and trailing 21-3 as Shaw has been impressive on both sides of the football. Wilson on the keeper and up to about the 15-yard line. Gain of about 5 on the play. Very quiet, as you say, on this sideline, Renee.
As Darius Wilson follows Corey LaCruz, the center, and doing a pretty good job up front. 5'11", 205. The smallest of those behemoths up front is offensive line mates as Wilson finds the crease running behind Stelz. Good block up there up front as well by Nick Gemar, and not what he wanted. It's still 2nd and long, but it almost dictates they're going to have to pass in this series right here to gain some of his yardage back.
2:10 remaining here, and as you say, Wilson back to pass. Now he tucks it in, and he is tackled at the 26-yard line. Boy, the Shaw defense is just everywhere right now.
And Cameron Vaughn comes up to greet him. Boy, I tell you, he's going to be great. Cameron Vaughn, 6'3", 210, number 46. He tattoos him. They feel he may be the best linebacker in the state in 2001, just a junior, as he's mirroring Wilson. Watch, number 46 right here. And he has met, correct myself, that St. Ann comes up before Vaughn can get there. And great play as Wilson is facing 3rd and long.
As you say, you didn't want a 3rd and 7. They've got 3rd and 8. Pass complete. Yes, indeed. Nice catch over there by number 31, Michael Russo, as they keep the drive alive. Huge 3rd down conversion.
Yeah, that's a good play because Russo's 6'1", 170. Coached that young man at the playground's always been a real solid player, making big plays when you needed him. And he's a starter in basketball, has been as a sophomore, and came up with a big catch. And none bigger than that. His 7th grab of the season. Not a lot of them, but a lot of quality in his catches.
That one was of the highest quality. Inside 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Shaw with that 21-3 lead. Rummel beat him in the regular season. This one for all the marbles, at least when it comes to advancing in the playoffs. As Stelz on the carry, I just can't get over the size of that kid, 5'10", 260.
He would rather run over you than around you, and they liken him to a Tom Rathman. You remember him from Nebraska? And now the coach of the 49ers, former 49er. Miami, LSU, McNeese, and Northwest Louisiana are among his suitors. Played as a sophomore and really grown in that position. Is 195, now 260. And he's going to make someone a really good fullback at the next level. Boy, he'll bring it, I'll tell you.
Wow. He is big. 2nd and 11. Looks like Rummel needs a timeout to think things over. And they'll discuss some strategy. You know, talk to Jay Roth right now. He said, hey, you know, he'd probably say plenty of time. Still got time to do it. Yeah, it's a tough shot defense, but, you know, things can happen. But really, at this point, Rummel they've got to punch it into the end zone here. then they need some help. They need some turnovers. They've got to capitalize on something, and that's just not going to do it the way Shaw's held on to the football and really marched the football since the second quarter.
Wait, they need some help from the defense, Doug. And they're going to have to be maybe methodical, but they're going to have to come up with a couple of big plays because you're trailing right now by 18 points, and you need to come back and you need some big plays, some long range, long distance type plays.
You know, at the conclusion of every game, we have our AAA Trophy Player of the Game, which, of course, is sponsored by AAA Trophies, located at 3813 Florida Avenue in Kenner. If you want to see the best in championship awards, visit AAA Trophies. Give them a call at 467-7384. AAA Trophy Player of the Game always gets a beautiful trophy, and we'll have to start deciding who that person may be. Still with the ball is Wilson. Downfield's got a receiver, but it's intercepted once again. Dardar. Second diving interception of the game. The other was in the end zone. This one breaking up a long pass.
And that's his 12th pick of the campaign, Doug. And look out, he always comes with a big play. And I tell you what, great pressure right here from the outside from Michael Stewart, a captain, left defensive end, and great time on his jump right here as Chase Dardar comes down in front of Markey and slams the door on the Rummel attack here as the Eagles have the ball at their own 34-yard line.
Ball control football now is Shaw's approach. Inside a minute to go, we got a penalty flag. I can't get over Dardar. You know, we talked about him in the pregame show and said that's the guy that Rummel wants to keep the football away from. And it's pretty hard to do that when you got a guy like Dardar. He seems to find the ball.
You know, Dardar is the kind of guy, Doug. They'll be punting 5 yards, but the thing about Dardar, he would be a good quarterback. He's a good athlete, great athlete, baseball player, 4.7 speed, not the fastest, but he is a field general and he directs his teammates and he's a leader. Good look at him right there. Chase Dardar, I bet he would have made a good quarterback had Coach Tierney chose to put him there.
Still up and going. And across the 40-yard line.
Castile once again.
Castile has been impressive. Both he and Adams have really put forth yeoman efforts.
You know, and up front, we've mentioned his name on a couple of occasions. Rocky Tully is the brother of Torrey Tully, who is the center for the Tulane Green Wave. He is the last of the Tully brothers. Frank, Nick, and Torrey have preceded him. He's a street fighter, kind of a tough kid. His final season here at Shaw, and as he leaves, the Tully tradition will end unless there's any grandkids in it.
Rachel the handoff, and Adams trips at the line of scrimmage. And that's going to do it for the third quarter, as Shaw will take a 21-3 advantage into the final stanza. Back with more in this state quarterfinal playoff game in a moment. It's the high school game of the week on WHNO Sports. Welcome back to Joe Yenny Stadium. Doug Greengard along with Renee Nato, my good buddy, as we get ready for the final stanza of this state quarterfinal playoff game. The Catholic League rivals Shaw and Rummel. Shaw leading at 21-3. Rummel needs a miracle. Shaw's got the football. 3rd and 4, and that is Adams. And he's got the first down and more as he's across midfield and tackled at the 44-yard line of Rummel. And Shaw just continues to move the football and keep the clock moving.
Good blocking up front, especially on the left side by Wilkins and Harvey. Just a draw play as Adams looking for a hole. Good seal right there on the left side, and he's out in the moonlight as the quarter comes to an end. But I tell you what, they continue to huge chunks of yardage out of Rummel.
Got a penalty flag that, did you doze off?
Yes, I did.
We're already in the fourth.
I knew that.
That's okay.
That's true.
As there's a
We are.
penalty.
That's true. I missed a few
Paul,
seconds there.
it's okay. Listen, take a nap every chance you get.
Actually, I was watching Andy Griffith. Y'all woke me up. What's going on here, Doug? Is a game going on or something?
Yeah, it's basketball season now.
I thought it was basketball.
Makes it 3rd and 9. Rachel under pressure, unloads it. That's Castile. Castile's got the first down, and he's to about midfield. Wow, big 3rd down play for Shaw. And they just seem to keep coming through on 3rd down. You're still with us?
Yeah. But anyway, Castile, 87 yards thus far, carrying the ball on the ground. 60 of those coming on 8 totes here in the second half. Wow, just a little athletic move. He grabs it with his fingertips. Good thing he didn't cut those nails. Pulls it in. Good block right there. And finally, Terrence Dunbar is forced to make the tackle, as we are in the fourth quarter, Doug.
Yes, we are. 11:35 remaining here in this contest. The ball spotted at the 50-yard line, right at midfield. Shaw, 10-2 on the year. And that is Adams. And he picks up, what, about a yard. Adams and Castile just continue to pound away at that Rummel defense. And if I'm not mistaken, the clock did not move.
No. And, credit the bookend tackles for Shaw. David Fauché being looked at by McNeese, Louisiana Tech, Northeast Louisiana, and ULL. And his counterpart on the left side, Jasper Harvey, who's a captain, as a penalty will assess against the Rummel Raiders.
We've got now the clock is rolling. They were having a hard time getting the clock rolling.
This has been quite a little bit of confusion as Jay Roth confers with the officials.
There was 11:35 on the clock before they ran the previous play, and there was 11:35 on the clock after they ran the previous play.
So they deducted 3 seconds. It took a little longer than that.
Yeah, they need to get that thing down around 11:25 or so. They had to stop the clock to move the chains.
Yes.
The clock never started again. So, upon further review, I was just doing my best NFL microphone.
Quite frankly, I'm a little surprised we haven't seen Terrence Dunbar. Eric Smith is doing a good job as a tailback, but in 3 games, Dunbar filled in for Smith. He came up with 451 yards and 5 scores. He's quite an offensive threat, and of course you have to shoot all the bullets in the chamber. And this, I wouldn't be surprised we see number 32.
So let's see what they do with the clock here. The score will stay the same, 21-3 Shaw as they lead Rummel. It's been an interesting game. I don't know if it's what you expected. I know we expected to see the ball on the ground quite a bit. Turnovers played a part in the first half, but Shaw really has taken command of this game, Renee.
Yeah, they really have, and the offensive wall has really begun to take charge. We were talking about Jasper Harvey, the captain up front, left tackle number 72, Tulane, Louisiana Tech, San Diego State, LSU, and Southern Mississippi, along with SMU, have all been interested in the 6'3", 285-pound tackle with a 3.0 GPA. He's doing a great job, number 72, left tackle for the Eagles.
2nd and 9, Adams, he did it once, he'll do it twice. Adams with another long touchdown run, and Shaw leads it 27-3.
Great blocking up front. Fauché and Cartale, Wilkins, and Harvey just busting gaping holes open for the runners as Adams scores yet another score. And the Eagles continue to pound away at the Raiders.
Adams had the long touchdown run in the second quarter, this one even longer. And with 10:58 remaining now, let's take another look.
And Adams following behind a great block up front by Fauché and company, and he is scampering with that 4.55 speed running downhill into the end zone. Extra point is good, Doug. Wow, 28-3.
Shaw has been impressive. They have been mighty impressive. They scored 17 against East St. John last week, and 28 here. When they get the offense going, they can put some points on the board, and surprisingly against a very tough Rummel defense. But it's been the big play that's haunted Rummel here.
And as the batter, the Eagles right now are happy.
This game brought to you in part by Prime Equipment Company, distributors of man lifts, tower generators, scissor lifts, and more for commercial and industrial contracting. If you need a lift, call Prime Equipment Company at 348-2841.
49-yard scamper by Brooke Adams. Doug, and I'm going to tell you, I don't think we could pick out one player, but someone who has to get consideration for is the offensive line.
Hey, kind of like the,
in mass. We
That's
have
right.
to strongly consider, and also defensively, Chase Dardar.
I'll tell you, they have been very impressive. It's really, as you say, hard to pick out really one person who's really done the job.
But five hands, fingers on a glove, the offensive wall for Shaw has done an outstanding job week in and week out, and allowed Brooke Adams and Castile and Terrence Anderson to skate through some great holes, and also gave Rachel some time to complete the passes, some big passes. So I would certainly have to get some serious consideration, Doug.
Prescott lost his helmet on the return. 1st and 10 from their own 27. Smith. And the clock is now the enemy of the Rummel Raiders as they trail 28-3. If Shaw goes on to win this game, they'll play the winner of the Arrett-Karen Crow game in next week's semifinal. After a gain of 5, it's 2nd and 5. The ball at the 32. No time to waste. Up the middle. That's Stelz. Stelz with a big gain, and he's into Shaw territory, brought down at about the 37-yard line. He's not going to beat you with blazing speed, but like you said, when the bowling ball gets rolling downhill, it's hard to stop him.
Did I hear a truck horn that time? Get out of the way. You know, he'll roll over you, leave tire marks on you, Doug. And boy, I tell you what, once he gets going, he ain't going to stop. Wow, look at this. Stiff arm to Chase Dardar like he's not even there, and watch as Sammy Joseph jumps on for a piggyback ride, finally trips him up, but a nice pickup by Stelz.
Wilson under pressure, brought down. Wow, nice defensive play. In on the tackle for Shaw, getting the sack is number 87, Bobby Barbier.
And you may know his dad, Darren Barbier, but Bobby does a great job with some big plays.
Let's head downstairs. Alexander Laurent on the sideline. Alex.
This is basically, fellas, a battle of the lines, offensive and defensive line. Now, right now, Rummel's playing the offensive line loose in the middle, and Shaw has been taking advantage of that. They have been gaining ground. They continue to gain ground, and they continue to score. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Alex. Smith on the carry as he's around 1,300 for the season, and there's an injured player down for Shaw. As we take another look at the play.
Looks like Jacomine is down as Eric Smith squirts through a nice hole. Cameron Vaughn along with Jamar Anderson and stop. 5 totes, 53 yards for Kevin Stelz, and wow, he is the road warrior.
Jacomine off the field under his own power. He appears to be okay, nothing major. 28-3 right now. Shaw out in front of Rummel. 8:52 remaining here, 4th quarter in this state quarterfinal game. Wilson. And just squirting up the middle and close to a first down. They'll spot that one about the 27-yard line.
His footing betrayed him that time, and you know, they've never had quite a leader who's as unselfish as Darius Wilson. We talked about his quarterback abilities, but McNeese, Tulane, Northeast Louisiana, ULL, Louisiana Tech are looking at him as a wide receiver, quarterback, or an athlete, playing in a number of spots. But he will play 4.6 speed and a winner, 3.2 grade point average. He's got the whole package.
4th down, 4 to go. Stelz, the ball carrier, and it looks like he is denied the first down. And indeed, they deny the Raiders the first down, and Shaw will take over 1st and 10 at their own 29-yard line. As you can see some numbers on Smith, 16 carries, 52 yards. That puts him close to 1,300 for the season. As Rummel's postseason hopes appear to be going up in smoke, and Shaw appears to be ready to advance. Adams on the carry.
Billy Philpott coming from his linebacker position on a blitz and meets Brooke Adams head on to the backfield and halts his progress right there. In fact, throws him for a couple of yard loss. Call it 2nd and 12 as Terrence Anderson runs this show and doing a great job as the Eagles go to a 2-quarterback system with Anderson and Rachel have had a great deal of success this evening, Doug.
That they have. Anderson at the helm right now, and that's Castile, and he's up to about the 36-yard line. As you see, Hank Tierney, the veteran coach of the Shaw Eagles, not in unfamiliar territory, advancing to the state semifinals after they post this victory here tonight.
Well, there's still 7:20 to go, and I'm sure Rummel would beg to differ. There's no quitting these Raiders, but right now they're facing an insurmountable uphill battle with not even possession of the ball and trailing by 25 points, and must get the ball back and really not having a chance to do very much. When they did have it, the Eagle defense has stymied Darius Wilson and company as a penalty is assessed against Rummel.
And it looks to be an automatic first down by penalty. And that's not the kind of thing Rummel can afford. Shaw leading 28-3 in this state semifinal or quarterfinal matchup. The winner advancing to the semis. Anderson, the quarterback. The give is to Adams. And that will result in a loss of about 4 on the play. And as you say, no quit for the Raiders of Rummel. They're still pressing on.
As Hebert comes flying in from his left defensive end position, yet make yet another stop, and the senior, 6 foot, 230 pounds, comes in a vacated area right up the middle as a pulling guard, and he's aided by, looks like, couldn't get a number there, but
Billy Philpott, number 40.
Back-to-back plays by Philpott, also a senior.
2nd and 14 now. Ball at the 37. And the give is Adams. And Adams not even back to the original line of scrimmage. As Ferdinand McDowell comes in to make the play. Clock continues to run inside 6.5 minutes, Renee.
And a really beat up but happy Shaw Eagle offense thus far. But boy, I tell you what, they've taken some body blows from the Rummel defense and facing a 3rd and 12. And Rummel is just hoping to get the ball back for another opportunity and try to convert something here as the waning moments of this contest.
3rd and 12, tight formation. And a blitz on for Rummel. And Anderson on the carry up near the first down. It's going to be close. Going to have to get a signal from the officials on that one, but definitely close to getting the first down.
As Anderson dropping back, and this was a designed play as Cook comes on a blitz, skating out the outside, looking for territory as Anderson looking for the first down marker, and wrestling him out of bounds is Greg Whitman, who also excels on the baseball diamond as well as a second baseman for the Frank Cazzo's baseball Raiders.
Short of the first down, they'll call it 4th and 1, and this one's going to be a quarterback keeper as Anderson plows ahead. And this will be close, but I think they've got the first down. As you can see, a lot of the Rummel faithful filing out of this stadium. And a happy sideline for the Eagles of Shaw. The full house stadium here when this one began, and now some of the troops filing out. And we've got to come up with a player of the game, and that's not going to be an easy choice. Might make co-players of the game. Something to think about. 5:22 remaining. As Shaw just continues to run the clock.
What is the possibility, Doug, if I would be interested to know if we could perhaps award the offensive line of the Shaw Eagles?
They could just break the trophy and give each person just a piece.
You know, because last week Brooke Adams did an outstanding job, and he was awarded the award. Chase Dardar with 2 big interceptions certainly has to be considered. I would say maybe Chase Dardar or maybe the offensive line and let Coach Tierney.
All right, we'll keep thinking about it. We'll come up with it. We always do, don't we?
Yes.
We always do. It always works out.
And Carl Castile with an outstanding game.
This is true. On the give for Shaw, that's Floyd Jones. And Jones just a sophomore. Listed as a defensive back.
He's a little like Tyrone Carey, only a sophomore, a little bit of a juker. As Terrence Anderson on a draw play. And Floyd Jones with that 4.6 speed knows what to do with it. Look, a little bit of a hip shake, a little wiggle here. As McDowell makes the stop on the sophomore, but the clock continues to move. And that much closer to the Eagles who gained acceptance to the semifinal game here next week.
Just a game away from the Dome, the Shaw Eagles. Boy, a victorious sideline over there. And once again on the carry, Jones. And he's to about the 30-yard line. As you can see, an excited crowd on the Shaw Eagles sideline. They came over well represented as they made the trip from the West Bank. 3:40 remaining here.
I don't know. That offensive line has done an outstanding job, Doug, and I think Coach Tierney would concur.
Ooh. And Rummel, never say quit. As you know, we're into the quarterfinals, and you can see the brackets here.
Last we heard, St. Augustine was in the lead over Evangel. Aaron and Karen Crow, an interesting game in West Monroe. The University of West Monroe is anticipated, they feel, could advance past Barb, but anything's possible in the playoffs, Doug.
Trading barbs tonight.
Wow.
And the winner of this game playing the winner of the Karen Crow contest once again. Jones on the carry. As we approach the 2.5-minute mark, Shaw 28-3 over Rummel. Rummel beat him in the regular season, first victory over Shaw in 15 years, but now into the playoffs and the quarterfinals as you see Jay Roth, the Rummel head coach. Disappointment.
And he was 12-0 coming into this game. That was no easy task. And done an outstanding job, and there'll be another day yet for Jay Roth and his staff and team. They'll be back. They'll be heard from once again next year.
Coming up on the 2-minute mark. 2 minutes to go. Anderson still with the football. And he's dragged down at the 35. As the Shaw Eagles get ready to advance to the semifinals. And what do we do about the player of the game?
I tell you what, I would say, my opinion, offensively, we go with the offensive line. On defense, Chase Dardar with 2 big fish. And that defense that is really, he's the leader, has really kept Rummel in check most of the game. That would be my opinion on both of those sides.
Well, you know, it is the player of the game, and maybe we should just go ahead and choose a player.
What about Chase Dardar?
You're in.
He's done it all year. He's got 12 interceptions.
And we've got a penalty flag after the punt from Kerry Cardinal. And it is Mr. Chase Dardar. 2 interceptions, 12 on the season. The leading tackler also for the Eagles of Shaw. Had an interception in the end zone that ended a threat Had another interception on a long, both beautiful catches.
And last week he intercepted a pass in the end zone against East St. John to shut that rally down. And he'll be moving on, of course, with Shaw, but next year he'll be taking his place on the baseball diamond for the Raging Cajuns of ULL.
There's our man, number 7, Chase Dardar, the AAA Trophy Player of the Game. Here's the penalty is against the Raiders of Rummel. Been a rough night for those Raiders. Just with 1:16 to go in this state quarterfinal game. The Eagles of Shaw preparing for a trip to the semifinals. Been there, done that before. Hank Tierney always seems to, there have been exceptions a few times, Renee, but Hank Tierney knows how to get his team to the Superdome.
Well, you know, he don't want to talk about it right now. He's 2 weeks away, but Hank Tierney, with just 76 ticks to go, will be in the semifinals, and just a couple of weeks away for the opportunity to come away with yet another state title. Hasn't happened since 1987 when Vance Joseph was the field general for Coach Hank Tierney's group and the Shaw Eagles.
And they've got another Joseph on this squad. This impressive Shaw defense has allowed just 10 points in the last 3 playoff games.
And you know, I tell you, at this point in time, I'd like to credit the seniors of the Rummel Raiders with great leadership and leading the Raiders to where they are and an unblemished 12-0 mark coming into this game. Wow, what a great season effort. And so much goes into it, not just on the field. Overcome so many obstacles, injuries that they've overcome, and all the seniors, a tip of the hat goes out to all the seniors for the Raiders.
Hey, if you'd like a copy of tonight's game or any of the WHNO High School games of the week, all you have to do is send a check or money order for $25 to WHNO TV 20, 1100 Jefferson Davis Parkway, New Orleans, Louisiana 70125. Some great memories on tape. 1st and 10 from the 18. Anderson, as he hangs onto it, picks up about 3 and keeps the clock rolling. And we'll be inside a minute to go here momentarily.
The Raiders will come back at full strength next year, and Shaw continues to move on. And the thing that impresses me about Shaw, Doug, is there's so many underclassmen on this team that they'll return not only next week, but next year. They'll have quite a few underclassmen. The sophomore quarterbacks, of course, Brooke Adams and Castile return. And, of course, a couple interior linemen, Wilkins and Ankar, return next season as well.
Shaw running out the clock as Brandon Johnson, just a sophomore. Some of those underclassmen getting some action. And that's going to about do it as the celebration begins in earnest on the Shaw sideline. And that's going to do it as time is running out. Shaw advancing to the state semifinals with a 28-3 victory over the Raiders of Rummel. Rummel's season ends with a 12-1 mark. Shaw advances now 11-2. And we'll be back with post-game comments and our AAA Trophy Player of the Game in just a moment. 28-3, Shaw a winner over Rummel. This is the High School Game of the Week on WHNO Sports.
After winning the NBA championship, Avery Johnson continues to prove he is more than just a basketball player.
I think, the road was tough, but I think the main thing is God, he said, I'll walk with you through it. And whether you have success or failure, learn from both of them. And even though it was a hard road, we've had some lean times. The main thing is I knew God wouldn't give up on me if I wouldn't give up on myself. I'm having a lot of fun, meeting a lot of new people. I'm having impact on a lot of people's lives. You pretty much reap what you sow, and I've tried to sow a lot into my relationship with the Lord, into my family, into my career, and I think right now is just reaping time.
Avery Johnson, that may have finished Portland.
The WHNO High School Game of the Week is brought to you in part by Bone Ford, Prime Equipment Company, AAA Trophies, the Alario Center, Hobnobber Cafe, J.'s Fashions, and WHNO Sports. The Shaw Eagles advanced to the state semifinals with a 28-3 victory over the Raiders of Rummel. Let's head downstairs. That's where Alexander Laurent has our AAA Trophy Player of the Game, and also Shaw head coach Hank Tierney. Alex.
Fellas, to say that this is a big win would be an understatement. Coach, first of all, congratulations on your win. This has got to be real sweet.
Yeah, it is. Rummel's our arch rival, and they got us during the season, and we were fortunate enough to win the game tonight, but it's more sweet because we are advancing to the semifinals.
Now, when you take a look at this game, and again, it boiled down to the lines, defensive line, offensive line. I mean, on both sides of the ball, you held in there.
Yeah, we thought that's why we lost the first time. They whipped us on both sides of the ball, so we made a commitment after that game to get better and more physical on both sides of the ball in the line. I think it showed tonight.
I noticed that they were playing sort of loose in the middle. It seemed that you took advantage of that because you just kept going straight up the middle.
Well, we have a lot of confidence in our offensive line. We 315 and 285 in there. And, when we running the ball, the way we play defense, if we can run the ball and rest them guys a little bit, we're a good team, and that's what we did tonight.
Did you think that you had to be physical? Because comparing to the games in the beginning of the season now, this season now, you were a more physical team.
Yeah, we felt we had to be because they were much more physical than we were a month ago, and we thought that was our only chance.
Now, when you take a look ahead, again, you know who you're going to play. What do you think about the matchup?
Well, Eric's a great team, great program, one of the best programs in the state. Quarterback's probably as good as any in the state. They throw the ball all over the field to great receivers and do a great job on defense. And we'll just worry about it then and, start getting ready for them Sunday.
Okay, also our player of the game is Chase Dardar. Chase, congratulations on the game that you had today.
Thank you.
What, exciting for you, obviously.
Oh, really exciting.
All right, well, listen, congratulations again, Coach. A tremendous win for you, obviously something I guess you can savor tonight, and I guess it's business as usual next week.
And Chase is being modest. Now, that was his 11th and 12th interception of the season tonight, which I think is a Shaw record. But
Absolutely.
Every game that we win, Chase makes a big play.
That's why
that's why we win the semifinals.
And that's why he's the player of the game.
There you go.
All right, congratulations, Coach.
Okay,
good luck next game.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, back up to you.
Alex, thank you very much. As we've told you, the player of the game is sponsored by AAA Trophies, located at 3813 Florida Avenue in Kenner. See the best in championship awards. Visit AAA Trophies. Give them a call at 467-7384. If you'd like a VHS copy of tonight's game or any of the WHNO High School games of the week, send a check or money order for $25 to WHNO TV 20, 1100 Jefferson Davis Parkway, New Orleans, Louisiana 70125. Renee, 28-3 the final. Shaw, an impressive win here against Rummel. We're going to see some final statistics as well as you see Hank Tierney talking with his team, but let's talk a little bit about the numbers.
Well, you can see the stats speak for themselves. Rushing, the Eagles have the advantage there, almost 100 yards better, in fact, 97, 93 actually. And in the total offense, 282, 148. And the turnovers, that was the key. And Rummel not only had some turnovers, but their Eagles pounced on that opportunity and made the most of those turnovers, 2 of those leading to scores.
And as you say, in Chase Dardar, the AAA Trophy Player of the Game, responsible for 2 of those, the big interception in the end zone and, of course, the interception on the long pass play. Fantastic performance. Shaw is a force to be reckoned with. Their defense is awesome, and the offense turned it up a notch here as well tonight, Renee.
Well, I'll tell you what, this game was not as close on the scoreboard, but I'll tell you what, very exciting and exciting high school football game, and the Rummel Raiders will be back next year.
Renee, it's been a pleasure working with you this season. That's it for us here at WHNO TV. We thank you for joining us. It's been an exciting football season. There's obviously more great stuff ahead. We want to thank our executive producer, John Bertucci, and the rest of the WHNO crew for an outstanding broadcast. 28-3, Shaw is in the state semifinals. They improved their record to 11-2. Rummel's season comes to a close at 12-1. For Renee Nato and the rest of the WHNO High School crew, thanks for watching us. Have a blessed night, and so long, everyone.